every brand bring its own mark, its own
Yeah.
identity. And this is something I'm very vocal about, especially when I talk with the guests, because we expect the same things comparing one brand to the other. But if we go deep dive, we know exactly what differentiate them based on the experience we had, right? Hardly
Yeah.
guests can tell you something about brand identity, but they surely can let you know how they felt when they were in this brand or the other brand.
Hello, my name is Renae Leith-Manos. Welcome to this podcast, Where2From Here, featuring conversations about luxury travel and how it's changing in every pocket of the globe. Hi guys. For years, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia was the city travellers flew through on their way somewhere else. But quietly beneath the shadow, if you like, of Singapore and Bangkok, one of Asia's most fascinating luxury stories has been unfolding. Now, I lived in KL many years ago. Honestly, I barely recognize the city when I go there today. The food scene has exploded, design has become bolder, and that's in buildings, that's also in fashion. And a new generation of hoteliers is redefining what Malaysian luxury can look and really feel like across the country. My guest today is helping shape that future with a brand new hotel opening at the end of this year. Paola Caccioli has spent more than 26 years in luxury hospitality across Europe and Asia, including leadership roles with some of the world's most prestigious brands. Now, as general manager of Conrad Kuala Lumpur, she's been tasked with bringing Hilton's flagship luxury brand in Malaysia to life years before it even opens. So, what does it take to build a world class hotel when their doors haven't even opened? Why is Kuala Lumpur suddenly one of Asia's most underrated luxury destinations? And what can the rest of the world learn from the changing face of luxury in China and in Southeast Asia? Because my feeling is it's big. This is a conversation about leadership, reinvention, and the future of luxury hospitality in one of Asia's most exciting cities. So, welcome to Where2 From Here. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Renee, for having me.
Brilliant. Now, I saw when I was researching you that one of your very first jobs was as a Chinese translator. And you said that you in that spiel about that job that you were working with entrepreneurs who ultimately wanted to end up in China and you've ended up in China. So is that how your career began?
Yeah, that's it. It's my you study from a weak spot. Actually, differently from any other and no American dream. I had Chinese dream. Don't ask me why my parents still wonder why. I was attracted by the Chinese culture once when I was still in this in university, I studied university in my hometown. They projected some movie, Chinese movie of the first movie director Johnny Mo. I watched the first movie. I said, I need to understand them. I need to codify these people. So I started in studying political science at Oriental University in Italy. And then I won a scholarship to go and study in Beijing. And guess what was my graduation thesis? The Chinese as consumer. It was in 1999. Nobody yet had envisioned that China could be that potential market that is now today's. And so when my father asked me why you are going to China, I said, you want to neglect 2 billion people? They will have to, they will have a place. So
You were so far ahead of your time. So when you were sitting in those classes in Italy as a young girl, were they empty? Was anyone else in there learning Chinese?
in Chinese, we were only 25 students and we arrived to graduation, only 17 of us. And it was really so remote. We were called the white flies because there was no, someone in Western countries able to speak the language beyond the researcher, typically French and so on. So I had to find also my way to penetrate the market.
When you first went to China, what did you feel? Because you had such a passion for it at such a young age. What did you feel? Was it what you had expected and hoped for?
Totally not. Totally, there was not even one reference point in common with my Western life, especially from Italy. You guess right, right? From food to weather condition. I was in Beijing, so weather condition were quite rigid. I mean, in wintertime, the needle was below zero for 3, 4 months even. So you could easily fell sick. I didn't know anything about Chinese medicine, so I filled myself with Mandarin and vitamin C to survive the winter. The only things I brought with me is a mocha coffee. I mean, to support all the odds about us Italian, at least to survive my espresso. But other than that, I walked the streets. I went to the markets, and so beyond my classes, I found them so boring because at that time was quite a lot in terms of Chinese tales and so on.
Yeah.
Things that were not related. I wanted to understand more of the China, and so I went. I love to go in the street, but in the market street and so on. The silk market at that time was really street market, and so the head of the school said, "Paula, how come you speak so well Chinese? You are, you are always spend your time outside." I say, "I speak with the people, right?" I started negotiating. I try to perfect a little bit. It's not a matter of language. You need the language, the speaking language is only one part. You need to understand their culture. How do they think? Their
Yes.
thought process. It's completely another word. And so to do that, you need to drop down from your Western podium and know the culture and completely absorb it. So you have no reference with your Western country.
Because this is very similar because I went and lived in Kuala Lumpur. I lived in Jakarta. It's not China, but I understand what you're saying. It's not just the language, it's the culture. And Asian culture generally is vastly different to Western, and each Asian culture is vastly different to each other, right?
Correct. And if you think about China, in Chinese, it's 中国. That means the country in the middle, the center of the world. So the way they perceive themselves is the same as we perceive ourselves. Everybody else thinks we are the center. Everything happens here. We are, the center of the globe. Instead, they have millennial culture. So for me, it was very understanding to understand their culture, the story. I was lucky, blessed enough to,
Yeah.
dive into culture and grow as a sinologist.
And
My dream was
what do you think of the Chinese culture today compared to when you were there? Has it changed a lot?
Mm, yeah, changed a lot. I mean, few things. You know what I like of Chinese? They have a different process. They absorb what they like and reject what they don't like of any culture. They go visit, take what they eat, it's relevant to them, and then disregard the same. And this is pretty much how China developed, right? I mean, starting
Hang
with
on. So they absorb what they like of a culture and reject what they don't like. What give me an example of where they've done that. Give me an example where they've done that.
think about the Chinese millennials nowadays, right? They grow up in their family, which are still with, four, two parents, four grandparents, and, a big family with great
Yes.
expectation on themselves. They have a checklist. Let's say, sorry to simplify, but it's like having a bucket list of things you need to go to the school, graduate to the best university, perhaps going abroad, come back, have a great job, taking a master, great job, marry, have one child or two, male, female if possible, and go ahead, a great car and so on. It's a little bit like a checklist. So, but at the end of the day, the expectation of the family on this young guy are the same as 100 years ago, 50 years ago, right? Success in your life, and you are defined by what the other think about you. So if
Yes.
in the end
Mm.
of the day they are so fast speeding in terms of digital connection, technology, innovation. Some social patterns still replicate into the social context because there is also the need to be recognized by your community, recognized
Yes.
by the others. Whereas us as Western are much more self-oriented. We need to establish our own identity, our own life, and so on. And we have a very strong self perception. But in
Yes.
China, it's also many other Asian country, the opinion of your community, of your surrounding neighborhood.
Interesting. And how I know it's totally different, but how does China compare to Southeast Asia and where you're sitting right now in Kuala Lumpur?
Oh dear, I must confess, I was totally surprised because, as I said, when you deal with China, you become one of them in a way. You have expectation in thought process. Southeast Asia is really, and especially Malaysia, give you that sense of freedom in a way where there are no patterns. Very
Yeah.
is strong social partners because Malaysia itself is built on layers of different ethnicity, as being welcoming migrants from China, India, neighbor countries. So the colonization. So here you find different layers of ethnicities and culture. None rule over the other, but they coexist in respect of each other. So for me, it was really a discovering journey. They say, hey, I mean, you can, there is everything that is at your hand. You can connect with the Indian. You can connect with, you can see the physiology, right, of all the inhabitants here is so various, and the culture and the reason and religion and the
Kuala Lumpur's a melting pot. Kuala Lumpur's a melting pot, you know?
it is. And it's one of the virtuous example where actually still all these ethnicity coexist together and they in a modern life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So still
No, it's
discovering.
beautiful. And you're opening the Conrad Hotel hopefully later this year, but you've been there for 4 years. What have you been doing? And do you really need that long as a pre-opening to open a hotel in Southeast Asia? I'm intrigued.
What people don't know is really the job of a general manager, especially in a pre-opening stage, is well before to starting any positioning of the hotel from a commercial point of view or operational point of view, is looking to the skeleton of the construction site and see what it brings along. So for me, it's always like write on blank canvas. I was here. I still remember the first time I saw the building, the skeleton then, and then for me, is just trying to absorb as much as I can. What are the great opportunities? What are the strengths rather than focus on what is not? What are the strengths? What will be the guest experience, envisioning your rival experience? And so try to make sure that this is deployed and then envision the hotel positioning, the guest experience, the arrival, the stay, and connecting with the local territory. So I observed a lot what is Kuala Lumpur. I went to the discovery of all the hidden gems and the people and their social behaviors, what they like to do, how they like to spend the festival season, what they
Yeah.
love to do, their patterns, and yet what is the missed opportunity, yet not at the untapped opportunity in the market. And this is exactly what will be the guest experience for Cora KL, where we try to show a different way in terms of guest experience. I was very impressed by when I
Hang on.
meet
How do you create a culture and a vision for a hotel before there's any guests there? Like, how do you get the team cohesive?
right, you need to be have a very clear vision of where you want your hotel to be, and so for me, is hiring the people based on their attitude. They had if
Yeah.
they had the luxury background or not. For me, it's much more about their attitude, their soft skills, and try to detect this in their interviews for the core team members, right, the executive committee and the HODs, and then they share with them the vision of the hotel, the guest experience, and then they on board enthusiastically or what is my vision and helping to bring to life. I have a very consultative style. So I lay on the table my ideas, how I envision, and ask for feedback. Some things are beautiful, people are immediately enthusiastic about. Others less, because it needs to do the job a little bit in a different way. Or
And hang on, who's the feedback? Who's the feedback from? Is it from the owner? Is it from Conrad? Who is it?
from team members, from the first core team members that I hire, the
Right.
executive committee, the HPs, right? And see if they are on board with the vision and the idea. It's nothing of a copy and paste. It's completely a new way of how you want, what are the added value? What is the guest experience in Correct KL to be different from the other luxury hotel? To give you an
Yeah.
example, in KL, normally, luxury hotels are defined by how they are to the Petronas Twin Towers, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
landmark, it's an iconic.
Beautiful. Those Petronas twin towers are amazing. Amazing.
Amazing, right? Unmissable, your selfie and photo of KL. So it's a lot of happening in the city, and you might be surprised. A lot of constructions and many hotels are, popping up like mushrooms the closer they can to the Petronas Twin Towers. For
Yeah.
me, actually, as an hotelier, this is be luxury experience is well beyond than just be close to a landmark. Is how I make you feel in that hotel. For the moment you book, you make your reservation, you drop off the car, and our doorman open the door and smile to you. That are the little tiny moments that we need to craft for your guest experience. So the challenge here, Renee, will be not the closeness at the location. By the way, we are in beautiful location in city center, but how, educate the market to really the luxury service experience. And when you discover Renee, you cannot miss it. You miss it and you want to return. So that's my the vision and the culture I'm setting at Corakale. Things
But there are already a few luxury hotels in KL. Waldorf Astoria is there, isn't it?
is coming up as well. Yes, so sister
Yes.
hotel. Yeah.
Yes. So do you think it really is becoming more luxurious in Kuala Lumpur?
Absolutely. I mean, in the last 2 years, we are having three hotels, including us coming up, sending a shocking
Wow.
wave to the market.
Great.
So, but
Why is that happening now?
why now? Well, actually, interestingly enough, there has been quite a pent up demand after the COVID. If you notice, actually, those countries they had a very free policy in terms of welcoming people, and during the COVID, are the one that have been rewarded now in terms of this selected destination for every kind of tourism, from your long stay, mid stay, or short stay. And so this is also the untapped part of Southeast Asia. Malaysia is not well known. It's beautiful layout between Thailand and Indonesia, which
Yeah.
have been stronger, right? Stronger in terms of this selling this destination. Malaysia is coming up, and also has a much more discovery to offer to the
Yes.
international market, right? So it's an
Yes.
untapped destination.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you, because I lived in Indonesia, and with all due respect to Indonesia, I do love Indonesia. The medical is so much better in Malaysia. Is that an area of tourism, like medical tourism, that is developing yet?
Yes, there is a great private hospital here that actually is doing great, and they have
Good.
all have not only the residencies, but have done packages with luxury hotel, to stay over and for relatives and so on. And actually, I must say, I had the chance to stay over there, and it's quite interesting how they have been very enhanced. And I agree with you in terms of service they provide, attention,
Yeah.
and very high level of medical professionalism. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think Kuala Lumpur is quite an untapped destination in many ways, and I'm always impressed day by day how many foreigners I see in the streets or living here or moving here, right? Trying and testing the city, and this is a very good sign for luxury hospitality. In terms of different brand, actually here is not only to open the Cora Kuala Lumpur, is open the first Conrad flagship in Southeast Asia, bringing and
Wow.
brand making really better understand the market, why they should come to the Korat, right? What this brand is about, what is the added, why, in what occasion you can come over for a stay, for a celebration, how you are going to be treated, what's this personality, the identity of the brand. In luxury, we really need to make sure this is communicated not only, with the sound
Yeah.
of a marketing, but tangibly as the experience you offer every day, regardless of your purpose of stay.
I've been to the Conrad in Bali. I've done some work with them actually.
Yeah, yeah. and
I've been there a long
eh,
time in Nusa Dua.
yeah, and that's a resort hotel, beautiful. So that's why when I talk about the flagship Conrad, is because it's going to be the first urban luxury Conrad
Wow.
city.
And what will we see that's different to that we haven't seen before?
You have a different buzz, a different speed of service, because we need to be able to cater for every guest segment, not the ones that actually in a resort they have the luxury time. They can stay 3, 4, 5 nights. You have all the time to
Yeah.
impress and make the experience memorable. In a city hotel like us, we need to make sure we impress you from first time, because you might stay with us for a day, for a lunch, for a dinner, for a celebration, or pass by and come by chance and stay with us one night, we need to make sure in that short span of time you get a sense of the choral service. So that's why the culture we are establishing the service. When I say we are not going to be the hotel that can be labeled like a conference hotel, a leisure hotel. We are catering all the luxury guests. Whatever is your, regardless is your purpose of stay, we will craft your arrival experience. Your individual, your family, your group, different
So,
arrival experience.
so if a first time visitor comes and they have just 48 hours in the city, where would you send them in Kuala Lumpur?
We have a beautiful new program which is called Conrad 135. And then based on the time you have, 1 hour, 3 hour, 5 hour, our Cora concierge can share with you any hidden gem you are interested. You're interested in art, you're interested in nature, you're interested in shopping. There are them all. And so these are the easy pills, the easy excursion you can have. And we have explored, the team has already explored, and that's to offer. So basically, even if you have 48 hours, you can pretty much discover many of these places. And you know, you have been in Kuala Lumpur, so there are many places to visit from the KLCC, Bukit Nanas, the Bukit Bintang, which is the shopping center, and the Chinatown.
Wow, that's so good. And is the train still really popular from the airport and to get around?
Yeah, I mean, we have the trains, the express train station, so it brings you in the city center in 25
Yeah.
minutes. So you can, not be interested to any traffic and be immediately in the city center. It's well connected. There is the
Yes.
monorail, which quite fascinating as a journey.
Yeah.
you know, you see the city from the top and not in its space under
Beautiful.
the, in its basement. Yeah.
And you've worked with a lot of different luxury hotel brands. You've worked with Waldorf Astoria and now Conrad. What separates truly exceptional luxury brands?
That's a very good question because every brand brings its own mark, its own
Yeah.
identity. And this is something I'm very vocal about, especially when I talk with the guests, because we expect the same things comparing one brand to the other. But if we go deep dive, we know exactly what differentiate them based on the experience we had, right? Hardly
Yeah.
guests can tell you something about brand identity, but they surely can let you know how they felt when they were in this brand or the other brand. So, um, talking about the various brands, I mean, had been leading World of Astoria, which is understated, timeless elegance. Conrad now is a very bold in identity. We can be bold with Conrad. We can be innovative, modern, in the moment, in the now. We can give a sense of the place in a more bold way, which is out of the usual, institutional schemes where, we embrace, we can offer you different journey. You can like it or not like it, but we can really
Yeah.
cater for different ages and for different purpose of stay. So it's a little bit more, we bring more boldness to your stay in a way where
Sounds
you can
amazing.
dare to see, and also with our restaurants, right? Or the dining experience. I can't spoil them much, but we are going an dining experience that we they will define as dining in the sky. But I cannot tell you much, Renee. I hope you can visit us and see when we open.
It sounds very high. I know the Banyan Tree Hotel went there very well, and they have a dining in the sky up on the roof. But sounds like you will have something even different, which I can't wait to see.
And
Yeah,
bolder.
great. But we had a guest on the show recently who said that luxury is becoming less about marble and chandeliers and much more about authenticity, well-being, and connection. Do you agree with that?
Can't agree more. And that was my first comment when I opened the World of Astoria Beijing. And it was 10 years ago. Because at that time, the luxury market was all about big hall, big chandelier, a lot of people. When I opened the World of Astoria Beijing, there was a hall. You enter
Yes.
big doors and a long
Yes.
alley to a little tiny corner. So it was
Yeah.
really crafting the arrival experience. And here in Kuala Lumpur, we are going to defy the same needs. They're a little bit this is what I meant when I say shocking, sending shocking ways, right? Surprising, right? That the
Yes.
arrival experience really matters. If you come for lunch, you're less valuable that you stay for 1 week. We will treat everyone with the same genuine interest to make their time the best. That's the culture I want to instill, and normally I do, because it's not only about opening, Renee. It's how to
No,
create a lasting heritage, a legacy,
100%.
right? The
Definitely.
culture.
And what do affluent travelers want today that they didn't maybe want 5 years ago?
Yeah, so they want everything a little bit faster in many ways, right? They give for granted the communication will never be a problem, right?
Yeah.
Communication has to be immediate and efficient. So they want to spend less time in communicating their needs. And they give you a very short span of time to make sure you metabolize and qualify them, so that you immediately step into action and surprise them. So the expectation are in terms that I communicate less, you need to
Yeah.
understand about me more. So high expectation, and also because nowadays the luxury guests, they have beautiful houses. So we are not going to impress the guests only from a beautiful environment, but how this complement with the experience, with the verbiage, with how we pace the service based on their needs. Some guests would like to be fast, others would be enjoying the slow moment. So this is something that you really need to immediately detect and provide and step into action. So very short span of time to make sure understand you qualify the guests and to provide the service they expect from you.
Yes. So female general managers still remain underrepresented, unfortunately, in luxury hospitality. Why do you think that is?
Well, it requires a lot of grit, if I may say, right? In a way that you need to really be strong on the motivation why you choose a job, and
Yes.
remember what you put there. All the small resistance in your family, in your friends, in your partners, and your community to reach to that point. And it speaks a person that has left Italy twice for China, eradicating an husband and a couple of twins to go to China from Rome and Florence, right? Which would be places where you would stay forever. And this is took a very great boldness and courage, because nobody could tell me it was the right decision, but I felt the call. I felt my name was in
Oh,
the open hotel. I felt that my name was there to go in China or KL, and that was the moment. And I was lucky enough to be supported. But we cannot expect people around us to support us. We need to verbalize. We really need to make understand and what is important for us and for the happiness of everyone. But also, you can do this only once you are clear with yourself. And there is nothing worse than taking decision for others, because in a way, per se, where you do not are not 100% convinced, you're not doing any good to the other people or to yourself, because in the length of time this
true.
will come to surface. So what I had been experienced is always been very bold. Since the moment I stood up with my father, I say I don't go to jurisprudence, I'm going to study law, I'm going to study political science in China, and the scholarship in the other side of the world, and then bringing my family there and having them to my kids studying here. So this is all brave acts and steps, but because they are true
Courage.
to my
Courage.
to what I believe, which is my identity, right? And that's was very clear with my partner. I mean, when we just engaged, he came to pick me up at Rome airport. I was just back from China, and he said, "This is me." And be true, and then that's things come, and it's a long journey, right? It took me 14 years to go to open the world of Australia, Beijing. Don't misunderstand me. It's a long journey. That's why I'm saying you need to get the grit, you need to get the true, the motivation, and repeat to yourself as a mantra, because problems will come. There will be hiccups, there will be a delusion in many ways, or disappointment. You need to stay true to yourself.
Yes, I think that's true. And before we go, we ask everyone on the show, Paolo, where to from here? Might be what you're doing today, your next trip, your next big thing with the new hotel. Where to from here?
I'm flying back to my Sorrento in 1 week
Oh,
time.
beautiful. How wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful. Enjoy some sea breeze, my favorite, food, and some quality shopping and quality time with my friends since I was a kid, and take that break before when we bust into the opening for this last spate of the year. So I need to recharge my batteries.
Magnificent. What's the opening date? What's the
Yes,
opening
the
date of
opening
Conrad? Yeah.
The opening date, well, actually, will be determined in meeting end of this week, but we can tell you will be within this year, last quarter. The exact date will be determined end of this week. I will make you
Very
aware. Don't
exciting.
worry.
Very exciting. Congratulations. I will come. I haven't been to my old home for ages. I'd love to come and see what's happening. And I'd love to come and meet you in person and see your new hotel when it's all ready to go.
Looking forward, Renee. So lovely
Thank
to
you
meet
so much. Really appreciate your time. Terima kasih. I think you say that there, don't you?
you. I can see you. Thank you. Thank you. See you
Thank
soon.
you for your time. Really appreciate it. We'll see you soon in person. Bye
See you
for now,
soon, Kuala
Paolo.
Lumpur. Bye,
Bye.
Renee.
Don't forget to subscribe here and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for regular travel updates. You can also hear our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.